Charlie's story begins in the quiet of his garage, surrounded by tools, wires, and the hum of an engine. He's focused on repairing a small aeroplane, one that holds more sentimental value than anything else. It was a gift from his wife Sarah, given to him on his last birthday. Every bolt and every adjustment he makes carries not just the mechanics of flight, but also the love behind that gesture. For Charlie, the garage is more than a workshop, it's a sanctuary, a space where his world feels controllable. But that peace is interrupted when Sarah enters. She carries herself with the confidence of someone used to juggling responsibilities, but there's also a hint of regret in her voice as she tells Charlie she's leaving for London soon. A business conference awaits her there, one she can't skip. Once again, she invites Charlie to join her. It's a conversation they've had before, a gentle plea on her part, and a predictable refusal on his. Charlie smiles softly and declines. He has too much work. Sarah sighs, used to his answer, and leaves him to his plane, unaware of how deeply that moment will come to haunt him. Work for Charlie means the CIA. The next day, he walks into the headquarters of the most secretive agency in the world. For most people, entering such a place would be intimidating, but for Charlie, it's almost routine. He helped invent many of the security scanners in the building, so as he passes through each checkpoint, it feels less like scrutiny and more like walking through a series of his own creations. Eventually, he reaches the decryption and analysis department, his professional home. Charlie is brilliant, with a mind wired to unravel puzzles that would overwhelm others. That's why a message appearing on his system catches his attention so quickly. It's from Inquilin, a mysterious contact who has been feeding him information for years. Their relationship is unusual. Inquilin has access to highly classified intel and always offers it for a price. But this time, the tone is different. The documents are said to be explosive, not just ordinary leaks, but revelations that could put the CIA itself in jeopardy. Intrigued, Charlie tries to guess Inquilin's location. Istanbul? He offers, but Inquilin, as always, remains elusive, brushing off his questions and keeping the mystery alive. When Charlie begins analyzing the files, he's stunned. The encryption is unlike anything he's ever seen. Despite his genius, the code refuses to yield. For someone used to breaking barriers of information with ease, the failure gnaws at him. After a short lunch break, he returns to his desk, only to be interrupted by Sarah's call. She's made it safely to London and wants to reassure him. Charlie, however, already knows. His need for control stretches into his personal life. He's been secretly tracking her movements. The call is short, cut off by his impatience to return to the puzzle. The documents won't let him rest. Driven by frustration, Charlie takes his computer into a restricted area, one reserved for the most advanced systems. If his own abilities fall short, maybe the agency's top-tier resources can bridge the gap. Hours pass as he works tirelessly, his mind racing with possibilities until finally the code cracks open. What he discovers shakes him to his core. The documents detail a covert drone strike, one disguised as a terrorist suicide bombing. News clips play in his mind, reports of 150 casualties, including French Special Forces and Danish Marines. It was a tragedy that shocked the world. But here, in front of him, are the undeniable records. The CIA orchestrated it, and the operation was covered up. The architect of this deception? None other than Chief Moore, Charlie's own superior. That night, rattled and unsure of what to do, Charlie reached for his phone to call Sarah. She doesn't answer, so he leaves her a voicemail, unaware it will be the last time he ever hears her voice. Explanation: Moore escorts him to the office of O'Brien, the newly appointed director of the CIA. O'Brien delivers the news with clinical precision. There's been a terrorist attack in London. The hotel where Sarah was staying came under siege. 4 terrorists stormed the building, took hostages, and killed 2 of them. One of the victims was Sarah. Charlie's world tilts. He refuses to accept it, insists on calling Sarah, certain there must be some mistake. In response, Moore turns on the television. News footage fills the screen, chaos unfolding at the hotel, screams echoing in the background. Then comes the cruelest confirmation. Security footage that shows Sarah caught in the incident. The reality is undeniable. She's gone. When Charlie returns home, his grief is compounded by the media circus outside his door. Reporters crowd the street, clamoring for a statement, while police attempt to control the scene. A friend helps him slip inside unseen, but the house feels unbearably empty. The next day, grief turns into suspicion. Charlie confronts Moore and Caleb, questioning the inconsistencies. How could the terrorists move freely in one of the most surveilled cities in the world? How did they manage to slip past so many cameras and checkpoints? Moore offers hollow reassurances, promising an ongoing investigation, while Caleb sternly orders Charlie to step back and go home. But Charlie can't. When Sarah's body arrives at the airport, he retrieves her belongings. Among them, he finds a gift she had bought for him. The discovery crushes him, pushing him deeper into despair. Yet it also fuels his determination. He refuses to let her death be reduced to another casualty statistic. Back at work, Charlie uses the restricted systems again, hacking into the hotel's security feeds. Patiently, he reconstructs the attack step by step. The evidence he uncovers paints a chillingly professional operation. The terrorists stole a vehicle, wiped it clean of prints, and entered the hotel through the service entrance. They had a scheduled meeting with Impact Investments, but when things soured, violence erupted. Gunfire left one security guard dead and another critically wounded. In their desperate bid to escape, the terrorists grabbed hostages. Sarah was taken because she tried to help others flee. Charlie uses facial and voice analysis to identify them. Mishka, a Russian national, Lawrence, a former South African operative, Horst, a mercenary, and Gretchen, once an intelligence officer. When Charlie presents his findings, Moore and Caleb show no surprise. They already knew. Their indifference cuts Charlie to the bone. Instead of taking action, they send him to a therapist, a thinly veiled attempt to sideline him. But Charlie is not so easily silenced. He devises a daring plan. By hiding a chip in his ID badge, he bypasses security checks, enters the office, and prints all the classified files he's been gathering. Using a skimmer, he creates a digital copy of the documents. Later, at a bar, he hides the evidence in an unlikely place, inside an ABBACD slipped beneath a jukebox. The next day, armed with proof of Moore's darkest operations, he confronts his superiors. He lays bare the details: illegal bombings, massacres disguised as accidents, missions soaked in civilian blood, and then he drops the final card. He has a dead man's switch. If anything happens to him, or if he fails to reset it every 5 hours, the evidence will go public. His demands are clear: CIA training, new passports, money, weapons, and information on Sarah's killers. It's a dangerous gamble, one fueled by both grief and rage. Moore assumes it's a bluff, but Caleb insists they can't take the risk. They agree to his terms while plotting his eventual demise. At the training facility, Colonel Henderson takes charge. He puts Charlie through grueling exercises. On the shooting range, Charlie proves hopeless, unable to hit targets unless he's dangerously close. Yet, when it comes to building explosives, his brilliance shines. Henderson pushes him harder, drilling him on new identities, forcing him to recite details even under physical duress. But when handed a gun and ordered to pull the trigger, Charlie falters. Henderson sees the hesitation in his eyes, the weight in his hands. Meanwhile, the CIA deciphers Charlie's bluff. There was no dead man's switch. They move quickly to reel him in, but Charlie stays ahead, thanks to the bug he planted on the files. He listens in as Moore declares him a traitor and orders his arrest. That's when Charlie disappears. From here, Charlie embarks on his own mission of vengeance, one target at a time. He tracks Gretchen to Paris, infiltrates her apartment, and later corners her in a hospital. Their confrontation spirals into a brutal fight, ending with Gretchen struck dead by a car. Though shaken, Charlie presses on. Next comes Lawrence in Romania. Charlie lures him with the promise of an arms deal, corners him with a box rigged with bombs, and forces him to reveal Horst's operations. Once he has the information, Charlie leaves him to die in an explosion. In Madrid, he hunts Mishka. Using surveillance and clever manipulation, he confronts him at a rooftop pool. When Mishka resists, Charlie presses a detonator, shattering the glass bottom of the pool. Water cascades into the streets below, dragging Mishka to his death. All the while, CIA operatives chase Charlie, led by Henderson. Their cat and mouse pursuit stretches across cities, marked by close calls and violent encounters. At one point, Henderson nearly captures him, only to end up battling another agent in a brutal fight that leaves one dead and Charlie on the run again. During these missions, Charlie finally meets Inquilin face to face. She's not a faceless hacker, but a woman marked by tragedy. Her husband, the original Inquilin, was a CIA asset who died under suspicious circumstances. She inherited his skills and his mantle, turning her grief into resistance. Together, she and Charlie form a fragile alliance, but their time is short. When the CIA closes in, a violent chase ends with Inquilin mortally wounded. Charlie carries her memory forward, yet another ghost driving him. Finally, his path leads to Horst. Charlie infiltrates his yacht but is captured. Horst mocks him, recognizing that Charlie has killed indirectly but never face to face. He hands Charlie a gun, daring him to pull the trigger. But Charlie refuses, setting the gun down. Then he reveals his final card. He has hacked the yacht's navigation, steering it straight into Finnish waters. Surrounded by the Finnish Navy and Interpol, Horst and his men are arrested. Back in the US, Director O'Brien holds a press conference exposing Moore and his network of corrupt operatives. Their reign of secret crimes is over. Henderson, who once doubted Charlie, finds him afterwards. With a quiet nod, he acknowledges the impossible task Charlie pulled off and tells him he should be proud. But Charlie doesn't celebrate. Instead, he visits Sarah's grave. The weight of everything, the love he lost, the vengeance he carried out, the truths he uncovered, presses down on him. Yet, in the final moments, he returns to his garage, to the gift that started it all. After months of grief and chaos, Charlie finally takes Sarah's plane into the sky, honoring her memory in the only way he knows how.